What's going on, everybody? My name is Shane Gardner. I'm going to be delivering our presentation on behalf of Group 4. So, my other group members that did a really great job working on this and creating this product are Ashley Garcia, Lindsay Fittipaldi, Emma Gasek, and Cody Fong. So, we're Group 4. Our topic was Chinese virtues. So, we kind of chose the virtue that relates back to filial piety that we touched on in one of the earlier modules. So, we're going to cover the virtue of respecting the aged and loving the young. And we're going to be comparing that to a Western culture, which we chose to be the United States because, that's where we're from. That's what we're the most familiar with. So let's get right into it. Okay, so let me, hold on, this is blocking my view. Here we go. All right, so for some intro, as we know, filial piety is a core value in Chinese society. So there is the expectation for children to care for their parents and their grandparents once they have grown up because the elders helped raise them when they were little. So it's about, returning the favor and just practicing like love and care for your family in both directions. The same way you want somebody to care for you when you're old, you also look after the young ones when they're growing up. So, okay, so some differences in family support. So this is where we're going to start getting into the sort of contrasting between the two cultures. In the USA, children often focus on their own families and careers, and that does limit time for aging relatives, caring for them. It's much more common to hire nurses or put their parents in nursing homes. Direct family caregiving is definitely less emphasized in China. Caring for the elderly is a huge industry here in the United States. Another difference in some cultural celebrations of family. So in the USA, we have, of course, Mother's and Father's Day. We're very familiar with that. It's a day where you honor your parents. Mother's Day is coming up, May 11th. Make sure you get your mom a card, get her some flowers or something. Some Chinese holidays that are a little different. We have International Day of Older Persons. That's on October 1st. So that promotes respect, inclusion, and awareness of the elderly's contributions and challenges. And then there are Children's Day, which celebrates the joys of childhood and advocates for children's rights and well-being. So that sort of outlines the respect the elderly and love the young right there. They have a day for older persons and they have a day for children, whereas we just have the Mother's and Father's Day thing going on. All right, so a little more background on the origin. And I love these images. Like this one right here, you can see the mother washing the son's feet when he's a baby, and then when the mother becomes a grandma, the son is taking care of her. So I just think that's a very great illustration that kind of demonstrates it. So the philosopher Mencius in 372 BC, he stated that, well, that's when he was born, 372 BC, stated that one should respect the elderly relatives of other people as one's own and take good care of others' children as one own. So that's just an example of how it goes on beyond just your family. It's sort of like a very cultural thing. Like as a culture, we all value our elderly, and as a culture, we all value our children, regardless of whose they are. Again, this does tie back to filial piety. This was one of the building blocks of the Chinese society. It emphasized the respect and care that we had amongst our own families and should also be given to other people within China. It's an obligatory duty in China, right? It's just expected. It's very, and we'll get into more differences, but it is different from the United States in the fact that, it's not really obliged or expected of anybody that you will end up, moving in your parents with you when they get old. But in China, it's very much like just a virtue, a tenet of their society, one of their core beliefs. But I know are many things that are different. We can compare some similarities. Family is a core component of both Chinese and US culture, of course. And obviously, caring and respecting one's parents is important in both cultures. It is becoming more common in the US that families will have their aging parents move back in with and raise their children as along with the grandparents there. In China, the act of caring for your parents is more recognized, expected, and implemented in society when compared to the United States. However, both cultures do value the same concept. It's not like in the USA, once you turn old, they throw you in the garbage bin. You know, your family will still care for you. So some more similarities relating to the children's side of it. Both cultures do view children as a future of society, and we do love and support our children. You know, the saying in the US, I know we have the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. So that saying in the US reminds me of the earlier point, how those Chinese philosophers were saying you should love anyone's children as your own and be like kind and caring. So I think that's a good similarity. And some differences, again, it is more common for families to live in multi-generational homes in China. That way it's easy to care for both the elderly and the young. And there is a hierarchy where the elders are, they have the most wisdom and therefore they receive the most respect. And it's all about, you know, the family. In the US, there is much more emphasis on independence and individuality. Like I know a lot of us are like, I can't wait to move out, start my own family. That's a big thing for us. It's you really are interested in it's the very American idea of, you know, blazing your own path, kind of carving out your own spot in the world. Like this is a country of settlers. So I think that is kind of tied into it. You know, we all want to sort of, you know, cut out our own slice of land, have our own house, have our own family. It is very focused on like manifesting your individual success and the idea of the self and the freedom to do what you want. So I think that is kind of where the Western US, one of the deep places it's rooted in the culture. But in China it is a little bit more like, you know, we are a family and I'm going to, you know, devote myself to the family as I continue to age, like they devoted themselves to me. So some more differences. Again, this is all about contrasting how these virtues impact society across the two different cultures. In the US, nursing homes are more common. Like I said earlier, it is a huge industry, you know, at-home nurses or nursing homes, care units, right? Many children will care for their parents by placing them into a nursing home or a retirement community, as they sometimes call them. In China, the nursing homes do exist, but the elders already live with their children, so the nursing homes are not really, they're not as much as needed. And in China, there are recognized holidays for children and elders specifically, unlike in the US. So like Elders Day and Children's Day that we mentioned, that's another difference we were talking about in sort of the intro section. So some conclusions and key takeaways, right? Here we are contrasting the virtues and the way they reflect in society across China and the Western culture of the USA. So the key takeaways. Filial piety remains central in Chinese culture in shaping expectations for elder care, family decision making, and living arrangements. American culture values independence, often resulting in separate households for elderly parents and more institutional elder care. Both cultures express respect for elders, but China emphasizes duty and hierarchy, while America leans toward appreciation and individual choice. Multi-general households are more common in China, supported by cultural norms and economic factors, right? But in the US, they are growing, but they're not as engraved by those cultural norms. They're not as typical. Here are the references, and that's it for our presentation. Hope you guys enjoyed and have a lovely day.